All right, so next up, we're going to talk about states of matter. Now, here's something you've seen your entire life, but maybe never really thought about it. Matter exists in three main states on Earth. What are the three states? Solids, liquids, and gases. Everything we know either is a solid, liquid, or a gas. You've encountered all of these probably in the last half hour also. A solid is rigid. It has definite shape, definite volume. A table is solid. The chair you're sitting on most likely is solid. The floor you're on, solid. Now, does it change shape when you look away? Does it suddenly flow into a different form? No. It's rigid. It holds its shape. Think about ice. Ice is solid water. It holds its shape. Now, if I put an ice cube on a plate, it stays as a cube. It doesn't spread out. It doesn't flow. But you might say, wait. It does flow. It starts melting. Yes. And that melting is water. And water is a liquid. And a liquid is different. A liquid flows. It takes the shape of the container. Now that ice cube melting, the water will take a flat shape. But if I put the water into a cup, the water becomes cup shaped inside the cup. I put the same water in a bottle, it takes the shape of a bottle. I throw it on the floor, it just goes flat on the floor. But it doesn't spread continuously. It has definite volume. It doesn't expand. The amount of liquid over time doesn't change unless you encounter evaporation. We'll get to that later. But if you take a bottle of water, you never open it. The amount of water stays the same. And you can't really compress liquids like water. So if you have 100 mils of water, which is 100 milliliters of water, it'll be 100 milliliters whether it's in a cup, bowl, or a bottle. And when the liquid is sitting, okay, and the gravity pulls it down, like on a flat floor, you'll get a flat top surface. You know, every time you put water, even if you put water in a cup, the top of the water is flat surface. Okay, obviously in zero gravity, the liquids can form very perfect shapes, balls also. But on Earth, when gravity pulls it down, they become a flat surface. Now, gases, that's different. Those guys are variably different. You know why? Because what's wrong with gases? Gases are free. They are free. They are free to move, free to expand, free to take up as much shape as possible. So a gas can take up both the shape and the volume of its container. Now, if I open a bottle of perfume in the corner of a room, you know, or an air freshener, the molecules spread out. They fill the whole room. And the gas will always expand to take up all available space. So when a balloon inflates, when you blow air into it, the gas, which is the air, is taking up space. It pushes against the walls of the balloon, taking the shape of the balloon. So let's recap these. Solids, they have shape, definite shape, and definite volume. Liquids have definite volume, but the shape changes. It takes the shape of the container. Now, solids don't do that. So if you put, let's say, a cube of solid inside a bowl, it won't change. It'll stay a cube. But if you take water in a bowl, the water will take the shape of a bowl. And gases, basically, their volume and shape, they both change. They're free. They can take the shape of the container and they can spread out as much as you want. Now, a great example is ice and water and steam, because ice is solid, water is liquid, and steam is a gas. But it's the same substance. They all are H2O. So ice is ice, water, and steam. What are these all? These are all H2O, the same substance. But three completely different behaviors. Ice holds its shape, water flows everywhere it wants to, and steam spreads everywhere. Now, why are there three completely different behaviors? The answer is going to be the key to understanding chemistry at the atomic or molecular or particle level. Something invisible, something that's happening at a level so tiny, we need to completely change how we think about matter. But before I tell you that, now let's talk about how we understand these states. That's the model of matter, the particle model of matter. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the particle model of matter. So, what's the secret? Why do solids, liquids, and gases behave so differently? Well, it's all about matter. All matter. And all matter is made up of tiny particles. Matter is made up of tiny particles. You might have already heard of them. We'll talk about them later. Molecules, atoms, stuff like that. Yeah. And these particles are tiny, so small we cannot see them with the naked eye. Even the best microscopes in the world, you can barely see these particles. And that's just only recently. But here's what makes it interesting. Because I love interesting, which is that these particles are attracted to each other. Whatever particles we have that make up a solid, liquid, or gas are attracted to each other. And this attraction is due to forces of electrostatic forces. There's a force of attraction, it's called electrostatic force. It's like electrical attraction between positive and negative. These particles are pulling each other together. And that's where the magic happens. So these guys, the electron particles, these guys are attracting each other. By what? By electrostatic. It's a fancy word, but it just means forces between charges, like between positive and negative. And like I said, that's where the magic happens, because in a solid, liquid versus gas, the particles are spread out differently and their attraction varies. Let me show that to you. Now in solids, which is shown right here, if you notice the particles are very close together because this force is very strong. The force that is attracting the particles is very strong, which results in the particles being packed together so closely, and they are in fixed positions. They're like kind of locked in place. So in a solid, every single particle is fixed. They're locked in place. They vibrate a little bit, they vibrate just a little bit, but they're stuck to where they are. And because where they are stuck to where they are, they have a definite shape. The particles are locked, they hold on to their shape. So the shape of a solid is really determined by how the particles are arranged, held in place. Now in liquids, the same force is slightly weaker. So the force is strong but slightly weaker, which is why the particles, they might shown to have space, but they're really just moving around freely. Okay, so in a liquid, the forces are slightly weaker than a solid, which is why the particles can slide past each other. They move around. They're not locked in a fixed position, but they're still pretty darn close. They're nearly touching, and that's why they have definite volume. They don't keep on expanding. Volume comes when the particles spread around in a gas, when they can expand their volume. Because in solids and liquids, the particles are so close together and they don't leave that space. We call them, they have definite volume. But in solids, the particles can't move but vibrate, so that even their shape is definite. While in liquids, the particles can move over each other, which is why their shape is not fixed. They can take the shape of whatever it flows into. Okay. So the liquid can flow and it takes the shape of its container. That's why water flows, because the water particles are just moving way past each other. In a gas, the attraction is, the force is very weak. The force between these fellas right here. See that force that I'm making a dotted line? That's weak. In solids and liquids, that force is pretty darn strong. In gas, it's weak, which is why the particles can now go. Nothing is really pulling them together. There is, but not too much. So that's why the particles can fly around freely. They are far apart from each other. Tons of space between them. Okay? And if the container gets larger, the particles will move even further away. They bounce around, they bounce off the walls of the container, they hit each other if they can. And which is why the gas, any gas, takes both the shape of the container and the volume of the container. Because the particles are free to spread around and fill whatever space is available to them. Alright, so let's recap. Particles in solids are locked in place, strong attraction, definite volume, definite shape. Particles in a liquid can slide, the medium attraction. They take the shape of the container but have definite volume. In gases, the particles kind of look like they're flying freely because they have very weak attraction. And they take the shape and the volume of the container. So that's literally what it is. Ice, water, steam. All three have the same particle, which is a molecule of water, H2O. We'll discuss those guys later. Molecules, atoms, all that fun stuff. But same particles. So this is water molecule, all stuck together in ice. Liquids moving around freely, so when you pour, the liquid pours. Steam, when you water boils on your pan, it just takes up the whole kitchen room space, basically. And when it's cold, ice has strong attraction between the water molecules. Water, slightly warmer, has weaker attraction. They can move around. In steam, the water molecules or particles can't really attract each other much, and they are much more freer to move around. Now, it's really all about how these tiny invisible particles, which are to the naked eye, are arranged and how strongly they are attracted to each other. In chemistry, you'll realize most of chemistry is all going to be about this attraction between particles. So everything you see, the way matter, all these guys behave around you, is really explained by how these particles that you cannot see, but you see their effect. Okay? Ice, water, steam, all explained by this movement of this arrangement of the particles. The table you're sitting on, the water and the blood inside you, and the gas you breathe, the air and the carbon dioxide. All of them are different because their particles are arranged differently. Now, one thing you must know, in solid, even though the particles look like they're touching, they're not. They're very close, but remember, they're not touching. There is a lot of empty space. We don't show it to you, but even solids have a lot of empty space. But the chair you're thinking on, there's not empty space. You are solid and you cannot falling through. So when we discuss atoms later, there is a lot of empty space. But the particles held together by forces, even though there are big gaps. And you cannot go through those gaps because they're holding you together. So the attraction between the molecules on the chair you're sitting on is so strong, it prevents you from going through the gaps, basically. But the gaps are still smaller than you, so you really can't go through. So there are gaps, huge gaps at the atomic level, but not as big as you. But we will talk about that later. We're going to go into deeper. We're going to talk about the kinds of particles that make up matter. That's next. All right? Stuff like elements, compounds, mixtures. I'm sure you've heard that before. We'll just wrap that up also now.